Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this weather presentation for December 22nd, 2019. We're counting down those final days till the new year. As always, please consider subscribing, as well as, watching the whole video and ringing the bell notifications. Today will be sort of like a live coverage video, so it may be a little bit on the longer side. So if you're one of those few lucky people that's watching this as like a live premiere, lucky you, you'll be getting the latest live information today. And today we're going to be talking about, again, what I talked about last video with the southeastern rainstorm and how some areas could approach double-digit rainfall totals and winds near 50 miles an hour. And even some wave heights past 10 feet. So it's going to be very interesting to track. Before I get into the models, let me head into my radar here. So if you want to get it, it's just an app for like your PC if you want to get it. And this storm is on shore, and it just looks so impressive. I mean, look at his rotation on the back side. And it's really impressive. I mean, it's basically like a tropical system almost. Almost, but not quite. It's like a hybrid system. And it is spreading very heavy rainfall in the places like northern Florida, so Jacksonville. I mean, the rainfall just doesn't end, does it? And notice the flow. Okay, we got a wind flow coming out of the southeast. At least it's not northeast, because then we just be like downright raw and chilly. And we just have numerous like these little red shadings that you see that are pretty narrow. Those are flood warnings, and all those red slivers are flood warnings due to overflowing rivers. Okay, and of course, in a more broad perspective, we do have a flood watch here. So you can see the area of flood watch for all the counties listed there. Okay, and it's going for a while too. I mean, like all the way through the next day potentially. I'm going until the 24th at 7 o'clock in the morning, so it's gonna be going on for a while. All right. Let me see. So we have some very heavy rain coming through Tennessee right now. All right, right around here, and this is near Nashville. But yes, this is near Nashville. I have to figure out that opacity. The opacity is too high. But yes, heavy rain will continue to spread through, and it really just won't, the rain just won't stop. It's gonna last through Tuesday. There we go. Let's wind down at a pace so I can actually see some cities on here. You guys can still see that, right? Yeah, I think that's good down there. 60. Okay. Let's do a 90-minute loop length. There we go. All right. So as we're looking at this here, the very heavy rain just pushed through Tuscumbia there, Madison, Athens. Okay, this is actually northern Alabama. Yeah, it's northern Alabama, excuse me. Yeah, Nashville is all the way up here. Okay, so this is like the Alabama-Tennessee border, and the red and the orange on the radar, it's just very relentless. All right, I know that because there's Huntsville right here, so this is still Alabama. But yes, nonetheless, very heavy rain, and it's a very relentless rain as well. And Nashville, oh, there's Nashville. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Nashville's just starting to get in on the rain. You're a lot, far north and west, so I don't think you're gonna get too much in the way of rain, but still could have some problems there. But look at this impressive wraparound, and that's why looking this morning, I was looking at this, and Mississippi it said could see another 1 to 2 inches of rain, and that's why this is relentless, backside of the storm, and this will continue to advance to the west, in a fashion like this. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Alexandria maybe got clipped. I think it won't go that far west, so it's like Shreveport. It's probably going to be east of I-49, and I think it's going to stay there. But it will be, anywhere east of I-49, going to be running into some issues. Also, like areas east of I-30 and south of I-40. So let's look at some flood warnings here. All right, we got a flood warning starting on the 24th until further notice. Okay, this is National Water Service in Birmingham, Alabama. This is for the Talmadge River at Demopolis Lock and Dam. And this is from Tuesday afternoon until further notice, as I said, or until the warning could be canceled and the river starts coming down. At 7:15 a.m., the river was at 47.9 feet, flood stage is 68. Okay, so you're like, oh, I've got nothing to worry about. However, it is forecast to rise to more than 71 feet by Tuesday, so that could cause some a lot of issues. Let's look down towards Florida. So Cross City, and we're starting to see some lightning flash in the Gulf of Mexico there. Was that lightning? Yeah, some flashes there, so maybe some lightning sparks, but I mean, the severe threat, if any, is going to be down towards Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and south of Cape Coral, the Everglades. All right, and like between Jacksonville, Cross City, Gainesville, Ocala, even Orlando's starting to get clipped a little bit, but I think they just got out of a heavy band of rain, Orlando. But yeah, so that's the radar right now. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. And you can see, let's look towards South Carolina and North Carolina. I'm amazed that all these flood warnings were here before the rain even started. So I guess some rivers were having some issues already. So I guess it really doesn't help anything, does it? All right, let's look at the GFS model now. All right, so this was 2 o'clock, so I'm actually gonna skip to 8 o'clock because that's kind of where we'll be. And I mean, what the GFS is showing for 8 o'clock is kind of like what we're having now, essentially. Got some heavy rain towards Florida, heavy rain pushing into Georgia and South Carolina. And we got the nice wraparound, again, east of I-49, south of I-40 in Louisiana and Mississippi. So definitely agree with what they have here. And all the models are showing that this huge heavy band of orange and yellow is going to set up right over South Carolina, right down the middle. And wherever that band sets up, especially in Charleston, that's why I said we could approach 10, 11 inches of rain. And basically all the models I've looked at are calling for that. And I'll show you. So GFS, we get a little backside clippings, okay? Now eventually that high pressure, that's because we have a high pressure steering winds this way, and of course the low pressure steering winds this way. So that's why we got such a big wind threat as well. All the water is being funneled into South Carolina and Georgia. All right, but eventually, because of course that high pressure there is associated with a ridge, so it's kind of gonna like backstab it, and the low will eventually weaken in the with that high pressure. So first they're working together, and then the high pressure betrays it, and it starts weakening the storm system. So basically, how much rain are we talking about? Okay, South Carolina, look at this. Another, let's see. We got 10 inches right near Charleston, South Carolina. About 10 inches of rain, according to the GFS model. And even outside of that, okay, like 4 to 6 plus. All in this, we see like that goldish tint. And we can even see 4 inches in Florida as well. All right, now let's look at the observations. This is the rain. Now this was this morning, so this was observed rainfall at 7 o'clock this morning. And look at this, that little right there in Florida, right on the panhandle right there, near Pensacola, we had 4 inches of rain. And that was as of this morning. Could you imagine what we're at now? All right, and like widespread, Alabama to Mississippi, down through the Florida Panhandle, widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain we had already, and that was this morning. We probably had a lot more than that. Like Orlando, they've had a ½ inch of rain. I mean, as of this morning, they probably had a heck of a lot more than that. All right, here's the high-resolution European model. Again, it's showing the same thing. Here's that low. It translates its energy to the coast, and we got a huge development of yellows and oranges on the radar, and it's just going to be, like, very hectic. And look at this. The Euro takes you down to 1,000 millibars of pressure, so that's what's really going to be developing. Okay? Probably dropping below 1,000 millibars of pressure briefly. And look at 2 out here. We still got some, rain bands making their way on shore. And as the storm weakens, it pushes out by the afternoon at the very latest. I think by like 8 to 12 or 8 to 11 in the morning, everything should be A-okay. Or at least very much improving. Again, same thing with the European model here. The highest total I ran my mouse over was 11 inches right there. So again, near Charleston, 10 or 11 inches of rain. Okay, so the GFS and the Euro so far, we got 10 or 11 inches of rain. And again, like the GFS, outside of that, we can see 4 to 6. But even that red shading here, that's at least 2 inches of rain. Anywhere in that red shading. So that's, 2 to 3 plus to say the least. 2 to 3 plus in that zone. And that includes Orlando. And the Europeans got a very heavy band, 2 to 4 inches going through Orlando. 2 to 4 inches near Jacksonville, Florida. So looking very, very messy. Now let's look at the Canadian model. Now keep in mind the Canadian models aren't that good with the South, but we consider all models. We don't discriminate the models. We include everybody, right? All right. So here is Georgia South Carolina border, slow moving cell moving through there, and right where that low is associated with that low, take a nice stripe of yellow, and that's where you can see some really heavy rain. Then basically what happens is that low. Then a piece of that translates it's energy, right? The low starting to translate to the coast, and all of this scattered yellow and orange is gonna all of a sudden come together once that low quickly shifts onto the coast, and there it is, right there. Starts to deepen, excuse me, and 1,004 millibars of pressure, and then it moves in through South Carolina, bringing with it some very heavy rain. And again, look at this. I mean, this is 5 o'clock in the morning, still there. Okay, it's just relentless. And then they have it sticking around after 8 o'clock in the morning. They have it sticking around in Georgia. All that green will probably be like limited to the coast by 8 o'clock, and then everything's out of here by 9 probably. And you can see by 2, everything is basically off the coast. So, how much rain are we talking about with this model? Well, let's find out. And Georgia-South Carolina border, we got 9.1. So about 9.25 right there in the Georgia-South Carolina border. That's the highest. They have Charleston at about 8 inches of rain. So far, the 3 models we've looked at, they've averaged around 9-10 inches of rain. The 3 models we looked at. GFS, European, and GEM. My opinion is that we could see, like, 6 to 8 inches on the Georgia-South Carolina coast, especially with that onshore flow coming in, which I'll get at later. Alright, and as, I'm not going to spend all day looking at models. Actually, this is a new NAM, so I haven't actually looked at this yet, because this is the 18Z, but let's look at it. So here's a NAM, alright, 12 km, mind you, and there it is, a storm, and right where that storm center is, got a nice stripe going directly upwards, right up through the middle of South Carolina. And let's see when they have this precipitation wrapping up. So we could have a spotty area right there at 5 o'clock in the morning. But the NAM has it wrapping up pretty early. Okay, maybe some bands actually have it ending a lot later. But if we could see an isolated shower around. But then Tuesday, problems are over. Okay, we're good. Tuesday, Wednesday, biggest issue is going to be the winds that come. I mean, not the biggest issue won't be the wind, but we will have an issue with the winds on the back side of the storm or on the front side of the storm. So we will have a little bit of a wind problem Tuesday. But the biggest problem is that Tuesday into Wednesday, the rivers start to rise. Because, as I said last video, it's about a day or two after the storm, like in Dorian and all the other hurricanes and rainstorms. It's about 12 to 24 hours, or about 10 to 20 hours after the storm's over, the rivers are going to start rising now. So don't give up on the storm quite yet, because at the amount of rain it's dropping, these rivers could rise just exceedingly out of their banks. All right, and look at this, 10.5 inches. So basically, 3 out of the 4 models that we've looked at, GFS, the GEM, the Euro, and the NAM 12 cam, 3 out of the 4, 75% of them are calling for over 10 inches of rain in Charleston, South Carolina, and about 7 inches of rain for Savannah, Georgia. Really interesting. Okay, let me refresh this. Refresh this one more time. All right, we got a new look here. So this is near the Savannah River, if I'm not mistaken. That's the Charleston Harbor. Yeah, so this is the Savannah River, okay? Fort Pulaski tide gauge, okay? And I think they spelled gauge wrong, but maybe you can spell a different way. But anyway, so the river has been rising. So the thick blue line is your observations, okay? That's what we're observing right there. Right where the blue and purple meet, that's our observation. And all the purple lines, that's forecast. And usually the forecasts aren't that accurate. It's hard to forecast rivers, but it gives you an idea, right? This forecast-wise, the Savannah River, or Fort Pulaski, is going to go down, and then by early Monday morning, so early tomorrow morning, it could be a minor flood stage. Okay, and then it goes down, goes back up, goes down, goes back up again, could get to action stage very close, and then after that, in the Wednesday, maybe even back to minor stage twice. So at 9.2, minor coastal flooding typically begins along the southeast Georgia coast. If the tide increases 9.4, 9.5 feet, then Highway 80 near Tybee Island becomes flooded. But that's if we get to that level. But again, if we get a really heavy rain band coming through, I can't rule that out. But this is a bigger problem to me. This is like downtown Charleston, just a few miles southeast of Charleston here. All right, so the river's been rising. It's at its peak right now at its observation. It's going to move down through the night. Then by the time you wake up, or overnight as you wake up Monday, or I mean, a lot of people won't be awake, but right before you wake up Monday, 7.7 feet. That is moderate flood stage for the Charleston Harbor. Okay, and take a look at what happens at 7.5. Okay, minor coastal flooding occurs. Downtown Charleston and additional impacted roads, okay, besides the ones listed at 7 right there. We're talking about additionally, not only Lockwood Drive or Fishbourne and Morrison Drive, but we're talking about Highway 17, Highway 61, Market Street, and so many other roads getting flooded. And other impacted areas are Long Point Road, near Palmetto Islands, includes County Park. 12 and 15 streets are going to be flooded, and flooding will impact the Hunting Island and Sea Island Parkway, near the Chowing Creek Bridge. That's if it gets to 7.5 feet. If it rises another 0.3 feet after that, 8 feet we're in minor or major flood stage, and that it just gets catastrophic after that. We probably reached there during Hurricane Matthew in 2016, probably. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's see, Matthew, is that listed on here? No. Oh yeah, there it is. So you see, look, here, Hurricane Matthew brought the Charleston Harbor to 9.29 feet. Wow. As a Category 1 hurricane, so. And Hugo brought it to 12.5. Could you imagine what that could have done? My goodness. All right, let's go one last river gauge. And this river gauge is in a flood warning because it's already well in the minor stage. Now, the good news is there's big gaps between minor and moderate, right? In Charleston Harbor, it was like minor was here. You go another couple, another few inches, we're in moderate, and another few inches, we're in major. At least with this river gauge, at least they're all spread out. So, meaning that you're going to have to rise, 7-8 feet to get to the next stage, as opposed to only rising a few inches to get to the next stage. That's what I'm trying to say. This river is going to rise, let me actually I think this could be refreshed one more time. Yes, okay, and I got a 4:30 observation. Okay, and I don't think anything changed. We're still at 13.04 feet. And it's forecast to rise to near 15 feet. So what can that do? Well, let's see. 12 feet, several dirt logging roads are impassable. If it hits 16, then the water will surround the residents at the end of the Harris Landing Road, and adjacent boat ramp will be inaccessible. So that'd be some bad news. But take a look at this. These, now, in the green, this is like a forecast to say. So green means you're good. You have less than a 50% chance to see exceeding river flood levels during December, January, February. But anywhere in orange, meaning you have a greater than 50% chance to see minor river flooding during the winter months. Okay, and you can see that's widespread through the southeast. I mean, look at this. Because primarily because of the storm. All those orange areas, we have a greater than 50% chance to see minor river flooding during the winter. The areas in red, those few areas in red, like near Columbia, Macon, Georgia, or somewhere near there, near New Orleans, Alexandria, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and Tennessee. Okay, that's where we have a greater than 50% chance to see a moderate river flooding during the winter months at some point. Okay, so let's actually let's plug those in. There you go. So you can only see the orange and the red spots. Here you go. And look at this. And even the areas with a greater than 25% chance. Look at this. It's, that way none of the green stuff is shown. Look at this. If you look at northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and Tennessee, northern Louisiana, that's where we have a greater than 25% chance to see major river flooding during the winter months, December, January, February. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I mean, this is a real flood threat. And they were in a drought, so think of it as like the burn scars in California almost, right? So the two orange spots are exactly right on top of Savannah and right on top of Charleston. Downtown Savannah and downtown Charleston, that's where those two orange spots are, meaning 5 to 8 inches of rain additional on top of what we already have picked up. It's Sunday evening, which is, right now. Atlanta, wind gusts to 50 miles an hour, probably more than that some areas, but. And here's the wave action that's just going to be relentless due to that high pressure to the north, low pressure coming in. It's just the wind gradients are going to be so tightly packed. Let's actually look at that right now on windy.com here. And just look at where we have. So here's the high pressure, right? You see the center of the high pressure, and I explained this last video. It's not like as soon as you get south of the high pressure, the winds start turning out of the east. It does not work like that. So where you see the high pressure, right? High pressure, here is your pressure ISO line around it. Okay. This is like used a lot like when you're measuring like or tracking hurricanes. This is a good item to measure. Okay, and here's your low pressure. There's the low pressure itself. There's the ISO line bar around it. All the wind is getting funneled in between that first ISO line. So between this and between this, everything is getting funneled right in between. So that's why places like Savannah and Charleston have the greatest risk to see, coastal flooding and rainfall flooding. Okay, and we also got a bad situation down in Mexico because on the back side of that system, there's just a horrible, northwest wind that's just digging into Mexico down here. So you got wind gusts passing, 40, 50 miles an hour down there as well. Okay, on the back side of that storm. So, again, you got your low pressure. Okay, I really drew that bad. So, again, you have that low pressure ISO bar here. You have the high pressure ISO bar there. And in between that is where you're going to have all your wind being funneled in. Right in between there. So, we're talking about areas like Jacksonville, Savannah, Charleston, even Wilmington, North Carolina, getting in on that coastal flooding. So let's show you that here. Here's the wind forecast, 8 through 8 o'clock. Atlanta winds will be gusting past 45 miles an hour. That will continue, and then heading through Monday, the wind threat is really going to ramp up through Charleston. Okay, as we head through Monday, the day Monday. Now, luckily off the coast, we have a wind gust of past like hurricane force wind gusts, but that's well offshore. Okay, that's like right here offshore. If there's a buoy near there, okay, maybe if you're lucky to catch it, but a brief hurricane wind gust right there, but that won't translate to the shoreline. And then once the low passes, okay, we're gonna have a very strong northern wind to blow the water back out. Now, sometimes if the wind that blows the water out, like if we have the wind that blows the water out, if it's stronger than the wind blowing the water in, then we can actually get some of that water to recede back out into the sea less than where it was before, basically. So let's say you got a east wind, an onshore flow of 25 miles per hour, right? Blowing some water onshore. Actually, 25 mile an hour winds blowing the water onshore. Then on the backside of the system, right, you have 40 mile an hour winds blowing the water offshore. You're probably going to end up with less coastal flooding or less water than where you started if that offshore flow was stronger than the onshore flow. So hopefully we can get a scenario like that. Sometimes that happens with, strengthening hurricanes as they pass on by. But waves could be, offshore waves could be, 15, 16 feet, maybe like 10 feet as they translate to the coastline. So to wrap this up, let's look at a model here. I believe this is one of the HRW models. Yes, it is. And so take this to the beginning here. All right, and start. So here's the animated loop. Okay, the rain will just continue to move through. Okay, we got a nice band moving offshore there. Heavy bands moving through southern Florida, and we got a nice band moving through the rest of Florida. And then you got the expansive northwest wind. Then another band of rain blows through Florida. Then we got the backside coming through, and then all is set and done. So how much are we talking about? Well, at least according to this model, offshore 6 to 10 plus, where Savannah, Georgia, Savannah and Miami. So Miami could even see 6 to 8 inches, while Savannah could see 5 or 6, according to this model. So that's some of the, and even parts of North Georgia could even see 4 or 5 inches. So that's the top rainfall ranks according to this model. And you can see, look how the animation goes with the rainfall accumulation, how that just fans out. It's really fascinating how that works because you can tell it's like a very an HD model. And then look at this on the back side through Mississippi. That's where you can see another inch or two is possible. So that is it for today's video. Really hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching today. Hopefully we got a new winter storm to track soon. And can't wait to start tracking those again. As I showed you last video, if you haven't seen it already, okay, January will bring some changes coming with it. You can see, look at this. We do have some cold air and some moist air. So maybe some snow. They'll flip in the pattern there through January. Let's hope that's true. So that's it for today's video. I'm The Weather Dude, signing off till next time. Thank you guys for watching.